Yep.
Yeah, ready?
Yep.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the April 10th, 2025 meeting of the Air Pollution Control District Governing Board. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order, and I ask that the clerk call roll. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the April 10th, 2025 meeting of the Air Pollution Control District Governing Board. The technology here for a second.
a graduate of ceramics vocational program from Mesa College, San Diego, applied
Okay,
his
thank you. Your time has expired.
of ceramics vocational
And
Lost her last April 5. And so this is my challenge to voice our predicament because toxicity really impacts health and safety. Number one evidence, Mr. Chair, as you were asking me. We have all the records from our medical diagnosis, prescription, whatever. Our quiet performance audit is leadership failure in this institution. We have been consistently present. And our city leadership, the core city, is consistently absent. Where is the mayor? Chair governing body in charge of rule, while the director APCD works and focus on permit. Unacceptable. That is not professional work of art. Science. Deadload heavy organizational structure, 6 departments with redundant job, not capable of rational rule making and rule implementing versus 5 assigned tasks envisioned to create sustainable clean air for all. We have 5 tasks and the last one was included, we call climate change. You only focus on air quality, sir, ma'am. You only focus on commenting on other lead agencies' responsibility, like for instance, health. Who is the health agency, lead agency? It's not you. You only comment. Community engagement. We have the public media, county media. You're not the lead agency here. Let's focus on air quality. Air quality, we have already advertised that we have 5 major polluting factors. The small mobility, which is 50% polluters, 26%, which is the big mobility polluters, industrial, sir, 14%, homeowners 9%, where we belong as victims, and 1% agriculture. Sir Duncan, you are a thinker, and I believe in you when I saw you there at Sandak. You are an example of a thinker, and now you are here. Thank you. Thank God. In 50,000 manufacturing jobs, a task of APCD, it's not your task to provide jobs. It is not your types to help businesses. Your type is to stop pollution. If the treatment plant and Escondido violated, then let them correct it, don't settle it by money. And settle it fast because the victims are increasing. Just an example. The mission is science-based in the delivery of public good, meaning we are combatants to defeat air pollution. Air pollution, not land pollution,
all
not
right,
water
Mr.
pollution,
Javier,
not coastal
thank you for your comments.
pollution.
Your time has expired, sir.
Corruption, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker.
And I will say this before clerk, so I want to share my serious heartfelt condolences for the diagnosis, Mr. Javier. We do take everyone's concerns seriously at APCD. So I spoke to you before, I spoke to our air pollution control officer. And so after the meeting, we can talk a little bit more about an update to the situation at your house. So with that, can we continue public comment?
Thank you. Our next speaker is Nikki Zimmerman. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. Please begin by stating your name for the record, and you can self-regulate your time using the timer on the screen.
Hi, Nikki Zimmerman from Mission Beach, South Mission Beach and Mission Beach Town Council. I hate public speaking, but I'm here on behalf of our community. I'm here because 11 fire pits were moved down at the south end of Mission Beach. They used to be all spread out, the wood bonfires. They were actually banned in 2008 due to the budget and complaints. And the monetary donation from Kevin Faulkner for $259,000 got rid of the whole ban for some reason. And 11 of them were moved in front of our neighborhood. So for 16 years, we've been asking, just relocate the 11 to another area of the park so that people can still have wood bonfires, but they don't blow into our houses. Because with all our windows closed, our air meters, we have 6 of them in our house. They're going red. And we have a 30-year-old house that we built. I'm super nervous. So on the 17th, Parks moved the fire pits back out when they said they'd work with the police on a map to relocate it. The police had to delay their meeting, and they took the time again. Chief Wall spoke in 2021 about this. He backs us up still, but he was our captain at Northern. I think he's the only one who realizes how bad this is. I have nodules on my lungs now, and my neighbor died from stage 4 lung cancer. It's a really serious issue that can just be changed. And I don't know why you say they're exempt when they're under your nuisance law. So if you could work with Parks and the city to relocate those fire pits, even when 2 are burning at the jetty in the winter, we had to buy our own EPA meters when we got sick to prove how bad the pollution is. It's like we're in a forest fire every night, and we have the same levels as the LA fires, and I documented that. So we're not NIMBYs. My husband and I have 2 jobs. We work full time. I'm 65. We're not living there because we're rich. We're living there because we want to be healthy. And also the waves are washing all the ash into the ocean this month. So the surfers are getting sick. So I just really need some help for your board to work with Parks and get this done and get them out of here
Thank you.
this summer.
Thank you, Ms. Zimmerman. Your time
I
has
appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Zimmerman, for coming and sharing your concerns. Sorry to hear about your health issues as well. Paula, if you can have a member of staff follow up with her to see what the specific issue is. And since it's in the city of San Diego, I don't know if Member Campbell or Member Gloria had a quick response or anything. No.
I just want to say thank you for speaking about that, and we will get right on it. I think my staff is with you now, and we'll get your number. We'll meet with you, and we'll get all the background information, get it straightened out for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Campbell. Next.
Our final speaker is our virtual caller with the last 4 digits 3731. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. Please begin by stating your name for the record.
Hey, it's Truth. Sorry I'm not in person, but I wanted to help reduce GHGs. Nothing to do with the fact that I can't stand going to that building. For the record, the audio stream was cut in the beginning. Now, what
3731,
a
are you
motley
there?
crew you guys are. Oh, yes, I am. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's Truth. Everybody knows who this is. Sorry I'm not in person, but I wanted to help reduce GHGs. Nothing to do with the fact that I can't stand going to that building. For the record, the audio stream, not only was mine cut in the beginning, but some of the entire meeting was cut in the beginning. Now I wanted to say congratulations to John and Laura for joining this motley crew. Marcus, it's pretty cool to be chair, right? I didn't say you were cool. I said it's cool to be chair. Note that. And
Hey,
Jim,
Truth, I'm
long
sorry.
time.
We're having some technical difficulties. It's Truth, can you pause real quick? We're just trying to work through some technical difficulty.
Okay. Never a comment. My phone was like,
We're going to restart your time, Truth.
what? Okay, can you hear me then?
Yes, 2 minutes, please, Truth. Because we heard you
Okay.
until the our technology until your recording is going off at the same time. So we heard you speaking twice. So apologies for the technicalities. We're working through them. All right, can she start
Okay, I
speaking?
tend to echo. All right, here's my question. Does APCD monitor the dreadful GHGs from the cars you all travel in to arrive to this building? What about the lithium pollution from the EVs? Elon is not the only one making bad, overpriced, fire-prone computer cars that are destroying the roads and the environment. The APCD Air Quality Index shows that the Imperial Beach zip codes are green for good air quality. If that's true, then why is there a sewage smell lately? If it's true that studies have shown that the CARB air quality mandates are not being met at the southern border, what is APCD doing to change that? What are the violation settlements? APCD is offering grants for things like air purifiers. Was there outreach to specific cities or organizations? Or did the outreach to certain cities who may actually really need those grants have to be done by people like myself? Has APCD's military liaison had a discussion with the Navy SEALs, past or present, about their experiences? Has there been any outreach to Mexican representatives? Will APCD write a letter to the federal government asking if the USMCA renegotiations include strict environmental compliance by Mexico? What is APCD's position on the direct negative health effects of another border crossing, not by the federal government, but by SANDAG, an inexperienced agency? Has APCD studied the inevitable increase in emission inventory by another border crossing? Does APCD have a position on Mexican cars coming into our country that do not comply with California emission standards? I saw a couple of the APCD people at a council workshop in IAB on March 26th, where I asked them about the $500 plus overpriced air purifiers doled out. Has APCD ever done a study to prove their efficacy to filter raw sewage that's been clogging the Tijuana River for decades? Will APCD urge Steve Padilla to re-add restoration of the Tijuana River back into SB 10 to finally provide a real solution? It's something tangible to benefit air quality that APCD could influence by writing Padilla a letter. If SB 10 is allowed to hijack the Sandag border crossing toll money to go pay debt and maybe fund a treatment plant versus cleaning where the pollution is stuck in the TRV, air quality will never be improved in the South Sea. SB 10 is that important, so I urge this board to speak up and not let Steve ruin this only opportunity at cleaning the river. Thank you.
Thank you, Truth.
Thank you. That concludes non-agenda public communication.
How hard.
All right, I think we're ready to move on to the next item. So the approval of the minutes.
Yes, so we'll
Clerk.
move on to the approval of the February 13th, 2025 Statement of Proceedings. I would like to note for the record that per the Governing Board Administrative Code, request to speak will no longer be accepted for this item. We've received one request to speak for this item. Mr. Cesar Javier, you will have 3 minutes to address the board. Please begin by stating your name for the record. And you can self-regulate your time using the timer that's on the screen.
And Mr. Javier, just as a reminder, this item is specifically on the topic of the approval of the proceedings in the minutes from the last meeting.
Cesar Javier, I am a consistent attendee, sir. I learned my lessons. And one lesson is this institution is negative in all aspects when we came here as a student and as a self-imposed member of the governing board, which was hatefully, discriminatorily disapproved by Mr. Medina and the secret message of Councilor Rivera approaching then Councilor Jackson of La Mesa, then the chair. It's a lesson. I may not be qualified. That's why I'm here and consistent. And that is in the minutes, which I would like to speak of because minutes is very important. Why? Because it tells you the mayor of city of San Diego, the core city, is always absent.
Mr. Javier,
That's part of the
that
minute.
is not part of the
And
discussion.
I have not.
Please stick to the topic, which is the
Excuse me,
minutes.
sir, this is all about the minutes. I haven't heard any rational discussion, especially from the core representative of our city. Mr. Rivera, good, he is absent. Thank you, Mayor. Even if you're late, you're here. Better late than never, sir. That's part of the minutes now.
No,
To see to
no,
it
Mr.
that
Javier,
we
no,
are
I'm going to cut
able
you off now.
to
You're getting
determine
beyond the discussion.
rationality and
Mr. Javier,
justification of this
We
institution.
spoke
to
outside
fight
and
air
I warned
pollution
you
control
that if you're
district.
not going
Sir,
to respect
ma'am.
the rules in the meeting and everyone's time, then we will ask you to leave. That's your first warning.
Thank you, sir. And please understand, you're an urban planner. You told me, you declared to this board. My
Please
speech,
conclude your remarks, Mr. Javier.
yes, sir. I have still 1 minute, sheer way.
Yes, and you're not sticking to the topic, which is a minute. So please conclude so that we can move on.
I would like to conclude in the minutes long before. I am accumulating all the minutes, sir. Which is, I am telling you that minutes is very important. It teaches how to make a living, to present ourselves and voice our issues regarding air pollution. It's all about air pollution. What's wrong about that? That's all about the minute. And the minute tells us who is really active, patriotic,
You have 30 seconds.
thinking, and not pushing the hidden agenda. Ma'am Porbis, the institution is corrupt. I'm sorry, that's in the minute. It should be placed here. Corrupt in the sense that our issue is not being resolved since 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the
That
minute.
concludes public comment for this item. I would also like to note for the record that Member Gloria has joined the meeting.
Thank you. All right, are we ready to move on to item D1?
We would actually call for a motion at this time.
Oh, that's right. We haven't actually taken the action. Okay, any board comments on the minutes? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of our board?
I can make the motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, motion by member Gomez, a second by member Campbell.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'll abstain. I wasn't here at the meeting last month or in
Okay.
February. Thank you.
Thank you. With member Birkbeck Garcia abstaining and with member Medina and Lawson Reamer absent, that motion passes with those board members who are present voting aye. We will now move on to agenda item D1 and consider the proposed amendments to the San Diego County Air Pollution Control District Administrative Code related to governing board member compensation. Per the governing board administrative code, request to speak will no longer be accepted for this item. Requests to speak have already been submitted for this item. We have 2 requests to speak on this item, and those requests will be heard at the conclusion of any brief staff comments that we have. So I'll turn it over to either APCO Paula Forbes
Sure.
or, okay.
Thank you, Marvis. Board members, this item is in response to the discussion at our last meeting in February, where questions were raised about how to ensure clarity in our admin code for board member compensation for events other than governing board meetings and committee meetings. And so what we did was worked with council who looked at procedures for both Sandag and North County Transit and identified a process whereby the chair would provide pre-approval for a board member to attend an event on behalf of APCD. Eligible events would be longer than 2 hours, and then the clerk would report out at the following governing board meeting as to the expenses associated with that. So the proposed changes to the admin code are in your packet. One thing I skipped over is that for events that the chair would attend, the vice chair would provide that pre-approval. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to public comment. Our first speaker is Cesar Javier. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. Please begin by stating your name for the record.
And
Please.
Mr. Javier, again, the topic, stick to the topic, please. I'll give you 30 seconds. And if I don't, I'm going to give you one more warning before I ask you to leave.
rationality, transparency, accountability. I memorized this. No secrets. I speak on this agenda because it's unacceptable, Mayor. This is all about your compensation as member of the governing board. Yes, but that should be inferior to what the crisis has declared by Mom Nora Vargas when she stepped down December. There is a crisis. Chair Bush, there's a crisis, right? You agree? Yes or no? You're talking to me now, I'm talking to you, sir. There is a crisis. And this agenda should not be the number one agenda today. We should declare what have we done to the victims of the Tijuana River issue on pollution. What about the hot spot?
Mr. Javier, you
That-
have 30 seconds to conclude, and if you do not stick to the topic, then you will be asked to leave. This is your final warning, sir.
I'm sorry, but we plead to you to act like professionals. Let us be responsive adequately, timely, efficiently to address the crisis. Thank you,
Can
sir.
it? Next.
Our next speaker is 3731. 3731. You may come off mute.
Can you hear
Please
me?
begin-
Am I
Yes.
echoing?
Yes, we can hear you. You can begin by stating your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you. You did say if I was echoing, but that's okay. It's true. Okay, compensation for appearances outside of APCD meetings that last over 2 hours. Is it only 2 hours to collect the check if the meeting lasts for 10 hours? Or do they also have to stay for a certain percentage of a meeting? I believe SANDAG requires something like 75% of a meeting being attended. I don't know how often they actually stick to that. I think anything less than a 100% of a meeting should mean some kind of deduction. $200 a day is more than the regular SANDAG board members receive. I don't know if, well, I know maybe at least one of you know that, but that's very high. It's kind of questionable. And why would the vice chair approve the chair's request? Is that not backwards? Could that not lead to collusion and corruption of two people? It should be the entire board making that decision. Or if you had an independent decision maker like a CEO. No, I'm not saying get one. That's a waste of money. I approve of the public reporting within agendas of this official business. But how is the CEQA exempt if most of the time you guys would be driving to events? Certainly that means GHGs released into the environment irreparable harms that add to APCD's emissions inventory and add to each one of your VMT caps on life. And lastly, I don't approve of Tardy Todd or MIA Terra getting any compensation at any time. They're already overpaid with nothing positive to show for it. Thank you. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. That concludes public comment on this item. The floor is now open for board discussion.
All right. Any board members have questions or thoughts on staff proposal? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the board? All right, so we have a motion by the mayor,
I'll second the item, Chair.
a second by, a motion by Mayor Gloria, a second by member Duncan.
Mayor Duncan works too.
Wait, did I mix that up? Member Gloria, member Duncan.
There you
I
go.
want to be consistent. Trying to just refer to all of us as members.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Thank you. With members Lawson, Reamer, and Medina absent, that motion passes with those board members who are present voting aye. We will now move on to agenda item D2, appointment of public members to the San Diego County Air Pollution Control District Governing Board. Per the Governing Board Administrative Code, request to speak will no longer be accepted for this item. Public requests to speak have already been submitted for this item, and any request to speak will be heard at the conclusion of each section of interviews for our public applicants. I will now turn over the presentation for slides. I will go ahead and go through slides for the, I will go through slides. Give me just a minute to set them up. Just to give some brief background, today you will be appointing 3 public members to your board in the following categories: a physician, a public health professional, environmental justice representative, and scientific technical expert in air pollution. The district shared the application form through various channels, including its email listserv with approximately 4,800 recipients. We received 8 applications by the March 28th, 2025 deadline. Applicants will be interviewed in the order that was just mentioned, and the board will make decisions based on these interviews. So for the process today, introductory statements will be made by each applicant. They will be 3 minutes in length, after which the board will have an opportunity to ask questions of the applicants. The interview order will be physician and public health professional first. Then they will hear the environmental justice applicants, followed by the scientific and technical applicants. Public comment will precede each interview section. So after the interviews, the public will have a chance to provide comments. Once public comments have been heard, the hearing will be closed. Board discussion will then take place after all public comment, at which time the governing board will discuss the appointments in the order mentioned, consider each appointment separately. Each board member will then have the ability to state up to 3 preferred applicants. After that, the appointment and vote will take place. So any board member can propose a motion to appoint an applicant. After a second and any discussion, the board will vote on the motion. A majority vote is needed to approve the appointment. So we're going to start with our first applicant.
And then would you, what would be the process? Should member or Vice Chair Burke Garcia have a seat in the audience at this point?
I'm actually going to just have her come to the podium.
Okay.
And I'll also do the same once we come to environmental justice. So I'd ask at this time that member Burke Garcia come to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to provide your introductory statement to the board.
Is this on? Okay. Good afternoon. Oh, I'm going to let him start the clock. You want to start the clock?
Member Burke Garcia, I'm sorry. Can I pause you for just a minute? I would like to take just a moment to recognize that member Lawson Reamer has joined the meeting. And I'm going to bring her on screen for just a minute, just so I can confirm that she is in a setting without someone there that is 18 or older. So member Lawson Reamer, I'm going to take you off of mute, or you can go ahead and unmute yourself. And we just want to confirm that you are in a room without someone there that is over 18.
I am in a room without anyone over 18 and I am sick.
So then the just cause is contagious illness.
Yes.
Thank you. We hope you feel better soon. Thank you, member Burke Garcia. You may proceed.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anne Marie Burke Garcia. I am a community pediatrician here in San Diego County. I am a native San Diegan. I was born at what is now Scripps Hospital in Chula Vista, and grew up in Paradise Hills, right on the border of National City, but lived a lot of my life in Otay Mesa on my grandparents' farm, right across from the Brownfield airstrip. So I'm very, very aware of San Diego County and San Diego County's nuances. I'm a first generation daughter of a Mexican immigrant. I'm the first in my family to get a bachelor's degree. I'm the first in my family to get a medical degree. I have a passion for health of our community and the health of San Diego County. Air pollution became very, very important to me. Breathing healthy air became very important to me, as I lived with a brother with horrible asthma who was hospitalized multiple times when we were children. And then I developed asthma when I was in high school. So I know what it's like not to be able to feel like you can catch your breath and breathe. I have actually been hospitalized for my asthma before I was able to get it under control. It's very important that we have not just medical knowledge, but someone who's lived with the repercussions of bad air quality. I have been very, very grateful to be able to sit on this board for the last 4 years. I think it's important that we have a voice that understands health ramifications in all our vulnerable communities. And I am grateful to you guys for the opportunity to seek reappointment for this seat. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have another applicant. That concludes the time, right?
That does, but you're welcome to ask questions at this time.
Oh, got it. Okay, so I will turn it over to the board for questions. So any board members have questions? No, seeing none. And then,
Thank you. Thank you, Member Burke.
Oh, you guys, nope, okay.
That is the final applicant for this category.
okay, and so with that, we'll move on to our board member discussion, but because it's only applicant, I mean, we don't need to do the listing three.
No, so at this time, we'll move to public comment. So if there are any members of the public that I do have a number of speaker slips for this item. If there's anyone here in the chamber that wishes to address the board for the physician, public health professional, you're welcome to do so. Unfortunately, I'm not sure who is here to support who. So if you would like to speak to support Member Burke Garcia, then you are welcome to address the board at this time. Okay, so I will call up Nicholas Paul. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Please begin by stating your name for the record. And do you also plan to address the board for
Yes.
all three?
The other members.
All
yeah.
right, thank you.
Would you prefer that I do all three now?
No, that's fine. If you'd like to, it's up to you.
Okay. I will, I guess, continue the format as we've been doing for each individual member. I won't take the full 3 minutes. My name is Nicolas Paul with the Environmental Health Coalition. Hello, governing board members and APCD staff. I just wanted to come up and vocalize EHC support of Dr. Burke Garcia. She has been an environmental justice champion and has taken on leadership positions in her tenure here as a governing board member so far. And so we're excited to see her potentially get the endorsement from other folks on this governing board so that she can continue doing this work. Just wanted to vocalize our full support. Thank you.
I think I saw Anthony Dang. I think I see your hand raised as well.
I'll also make it quick and do it in the 3 segments. Okay. Hey, everyone. My name is Anthony Dang. I'm a policy advocate at Climate Action Campaign. Our mission is to fight for bold and equitable policies to secure the clean air and climate resilient future you deserve. We're very excited to support Dr. Anne-Marie Burke Garcia to return to this physician seat. She's been committed to serving the most vulnerable populations and is continually getting educated on air pollution through her membership with San Diego Pediatricians for Clean Air, the American Academy of Pediatrics on Climate Change and Health Committee, and the Medical Society for Consortium on Climate Health. And again, we're very excited to support you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Javier?
I submitted mine. This is an institution where the thinkers have that common ideology or some kind of frequency as far as solution, problem solving skills, the social judgment skill for effective leadership. Because whatever your profession is, leadership is the key. Not absenteeism. Not being shy. Shout, Mom. I have been observing you. You're quiet. You're a worker on the side of the wall. But you cannot shout, hey, board members, hey, mom director, do this, do that. Please, you cannot do that. I have observed you. You have been clamoring like that with the chair. You should have, Mr. We are a problem solver of a very, very critical #1 human survival kit. Mayor, clean air. And we are deprived in our community of that.
Mr. Javier, you're going off topic. Please stick to the topic, which is the appointment process.
It's about air pollution, and the contribution of the health thinker is very essential. I tell you again, sir, Mr. Chair, this is a vital survival kit. Next is water. She knows that. But the only thing is, you do not hear the rational thinking of a professional medical practitioner, specifically on
All
children.
right, we're going to pause this meeting. Staff, Paula, please direct security to escort Mr. Javier out. And Mr. Javier, I'm banning you for the next meeting as well. This isn't going to continue anymore. You're disrupting the meeting if you continue to do that. So I'm going to pause the meeting right now so that we can have security escort him out. Is there any other process that needs to be done with that?
Council's gonna consult with you.
Okay. Didn't even notice. Okay, I think we're ready to start the meeting back again.
Yes.
Thank you.
That concludes public comment on this item. So your board is welcome to make an appointment at this time.
All right, so with that, we have Vice Chair Burkbeck Garcia under consideration. So do any board members have comments or a motion?
I just want to express my support and happy to nominate you. Can I?
Sorry.
No, I was gonna ask that.
Okay, let's, yes, we'll bring in legal for the clarification on whether public members can vote or not, right? Or what their discussion could be?
No, because we're up for.
Right,
Yeah, because
only
I'm
the
elect-
elected officials can vote on the public members. So I would suggest refraining from
Okay.
making
I will
comments.
not be nominating
Yeah.
you, but if I could do it. Thank you so much for everything that you've done so far. So, thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Member Gomez. Yes, yes, Member Duncan.
Thank you. I think since we only have one applicant, we don't have to do nominations. We can go straight to motion, correct? So
Yes, that's correct. And we also have just FYI, Member Lawson Reamer's hand up. Continue. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So I'm happy to make a motion to appoint Dr. Anne-Marie Burbeck Garcia to the position.
All right, and I see Member Lawson Reamer's hand up. Is that for a second?
It is.
Okay.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. With everyone present, that motion passes with all board members voting aye for a term that's effective beginning today, April 10th, 2025.
If I might, all board members that are not the public members, right?
All elected board members that are present voting aye.
Yes, thank you for the correction and congratulations, Vice Chair Burkbeck Garcia. Did you have any comments before we move on to the next round of nominations?
Just want to say thank you.
Okay, with that, I think we're ready to move on to the environmental justice member position.
Yes. So at this time, I will call forward Georgette Gomez to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board.
Good evening or afternoon. Good evening, Georgette Gomez, and I am here and very much honored to be here and have served as part of this board as the public environmental justice representative. Just a bit of background, I'm San Diego born, also from Mexican immigrant parents that landed here in San Diego, was born in Barrio Logan. I continue to live in Barrio Logan but for a few minutes I was living in City Heights. And I share that because I carry that very deeply. And I think everybody that knows me, you know this story, right? So I'm very much committed to environmental justice, from living it to continue to invest in this community in Barrio Logan, but also continue to really dedicate my work to ensure that all communities are treated equally. And we're not quite there yet, which is why I decided to volunteer in this board. And a lot of the work that I do is around environmental justice from various different lenses, air quality being one of them, and economic justice, and really building holistic, healthy communities for all community members. I would be honored to receive your support today to continue carrying that work in this body. Air quality is a major impact to quality of life and people and how people live or lack of. And we all need to recognize that, unfortunately, because of previous decisions that have been made by government bodies, we have created a region that is disproportionate. We have industries that are cited in impacted communities, and this body has a duty to do everything that we can and should do to ensure that we're minimizing those impacts. And I would love to be part of those solutions. So today I ask you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gomez. Do any board members have comments for, but we might have comments, don't we? Or can she?
If there's any questions.
Come up to the podium, please. So any board members have questions for Member Gomez? Yes, Member Koval.
Yes, hi. Over the last 4 years, what would you consider your biggest accomplishments in this role?
Yeah, good question. So part of the work that I've done was I was the chair of the policy subcommittee, in which the first 2 years that this body took shape, because this is a new body. It used to be managed by a different structure. I was the chair. I was the lead for that body, and we did a lot of work. The first 2 years that this body was working together, we took on some difficult changes in terms of the policies and how the body functions. For example, the cancer rate analysis, we created a different threshold that this body adopted. We did a new approach on fee structures as well. We took on the development of a state focus in terms of what this body should do at the state level for lobbying. This is something that is a new structure for this committee, and I've been very vocal on that and really ensure that we were making sure that we were doing our work at the state level to bring more resources, because at the end of the day, we can create new policies, amend the current ones, but the lack of not having resources will impact us. We did a lot on improving public accessibility, and there's a lot of work to do, but we're starting to have those conversations here.
Thank you. Any other questions for Member Gomez? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll call forward our next applicant, Sterling Ross. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. Please begin by stating your name for the record, and you can self-regulate using the timer on the screen.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for letting me approach you. My name is Sterling Ross. I am here for 2 different positions, the environmental justice and the scientific one. I present a unique perspective because I'm one of the only candidates you will ever see that has worked both at the APCD and in private industry. I actually remember when Paula was on TV before she worked at the APCD, championing environmental justice. My experience at the district included several environmental justice prerogatives, if you will, where we did analysis for what was going on in the actual communities. I started as an inspector at the APCD, and then I was a chemist, an air pollution chemist, for the next 13 years. So my total time there was 15 years. The only person generally in this room that preceded me was Mike Watt, who trained me. there were several things that I do. So I present a tremendous amount of experience in the regulated, the AB 617 communities, the CAP communities, from the Port of San Diego doing the particulate emissions all the way down to 32nd Street, where they used to have a power plant. I specialize in making air pollution relatable, if you will. I can help anyone understand what's actually going on. As I've worked on both sides, I can then present to the people that are complaining what's actually happening, as well as work with industry, for which I have several contacts in. In addition to working with NASCO and Kelco and everything that they employ, I've also worked in the border region, which is the other AB 617 region. I've worked at every single power plant along the border, of which there are 6 that most people don't know about. I was the EHS manager for both the POPCO power plant as well as the CalPeak power plants, which are both on the border. When I left the APCD to go down to the border, I coughed every single day for more than 6 months because of the pollution that was in the air. Now, mind you, that is working at a power plant whose emissions are so low, they are almost undetectable, right? That goes to show that the air down there has an inherent problem. How we deal with that from the Mexico standpoint is part of the environmental justice goal. So with that, I bring both a scientific reasoning as well as an ability to explain what's going on and to relate to the communities. Thank you for your time. I'll be back up here soon.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. And if you can be available for questions, do any board members have questions?
Oh,
yes.
Thank you. I believe I saw a public comment, or maybe 1 or 2, that mentioned that your current employment is, potentially an issue for them in regard to this role. I don't know if you want to make any comments on that or any enlightening, discussion for us of how that lands with you or what that means to you.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for the question. I do currently work for SDG&E. My role there is an environmental specialist doing air quality support. I am seeking this role separately on a personal level, and I have cleared that through everything. I do not represent SDG&E. They will not rely on me for any sort of input. They are to be 2 entirely separate causes.
Can you just briefly remind us, I know I have it in writing, but what is your role with SDG&E again, specifically?
Specifically, I'm
your current job.
Yeah, my current role is I provide air support. So what I am is essentially a full-time consultant that I have expertise on air measurement, air reporting, and then all the regulations that are included with that. So that also includes dealing with the districts for both permitting and compliance issues.
Alrighty, thank you.
Yes, Vice Chair.
Hi, Mr. Ra. Oh, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Well, no, I'm public. No, I can't.
I would suggest not, because you can't vote on it, so.
Because I'm
Oh, yes, Member Gloria.
Yes, please. Mr. Ross, thank you for the application. Can you speak to, you have 2 applications before, so this one's for the environmental justice seat, right?
It
Can
is.
you speak more specifically that? I absolutely understand the technical experience that you have.
Sure.
But give me more flavor on the environmental justice component. of
On
your
the
resume.
environmental justice component. Well, again, I have to lean on my ability to relate to people, right? Because I understand what's going on, I provide a unique perspective to those people. And because I've been a part of actually having a hard time breathing just based on where I work, I have tremendous sympathy for what's going on with that.
I was looking through your resume, any involvement with some of the groups that are often working closely with the environmental justice community? Some are represented here today. There could be some that I'm unaware of, but I understand that you work in that space and that you're personally impacted. But often this is seen as a seat to provide some of those groups that I feel often overlooked, that you're a conduit or you have, for the benefit of this board, the relationships and the experiences with those groups in order to make sure that that point of view is represented here on this board.
Yeah, I fully understand that. If appointed, I intend to engage with everyone that's involved.
And thank you. And then maybe just a question for council. Is there any problem with a multiple application? I was reading through, I didn't see anything, but just to make sure.
Yeah, I think, you could, if you're qualified for each position, you could apply for both. You wouldn't be able to be, still
serve
two
both,
seats.
but
Yes.
yeah.
But yeah. And so again, the board would want to determine whether, and let me just read it, like this public member would be a person representing environmental justice interests and who works directly with communities within the boundaries of the San Diego Air Pollution Control District that are most significantly burdened by and vulnerable to high levels of pollution, et cetera, et cetera.
Understood. I would just remark on it. I think it's fantastic. There was a time when people didn't want to serve on this board, and now we have multiple applicants applying for multiple seats. This is a good thing. This is very good for our organization. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. All right, clerk. I think that concludes the comments. So I think you can return to your seat. Thank you, Mr. Ross.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll now open the floor for public comment. I know that Nicolas Paul and Anthony Dang want to address the board, so you can do so at this time. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board.
Thank you. Again, very quickly, EHC submitted a formal letter endorsing our candidates, and we wanted to vocalize our support for Member Gomez today. Member Gomez has tremendous amount of experience advancing environmental justice policy and has lived experience in our communities. And so we wanted to take a moment and highlight some of that work, working very closely with EJ organizations like Casa Familiar and EHC, advancing key environmental justice policies like the Barrio Logan Community Plan Update. These are issues that are extremely important for residents in environmental justice community, and Member Gomez is a trusted representative of these communities. And so we fully endorse her for this position. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony?
Hi again, board. I'll make this quick. Anthony Dang, the Climate Action Campaign. Again, we're very excited to endorse Georgette Gomez, who has been community organizing around environmental justice for over 20 years through Environmental Health Coalition and Casa Familiar. Her deep-rooted lived experience with communities of concern makes her unrivaled and perfect for the environmental justice seat. Thank you.
Thank you. I also have a virtual request from 3731. I'm not sure if you wish to address the board under this particular category, but if so, you're welcome to do so at this time. 3731. I believe that concludes public comment on this item or on this category.
All right, with that, what is our board discussion and questions? So board member comments? Seeing none.
At this time, it is appropriate to entertain a motion or at least a nomination for motion.
I'd like to nominate Member Gomez for this position.
Is there a second?
I'd like to second.
There's a second by Member Campbell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? With it looks like that motion passes with all elected board members who are present voting aye.
Thank you, Marvis. And then now we are going to take up the next position, which is the scientific and technical member. So yeah, with that, clerk.
Thank you. We have 6 applicants interviewing for this appointment for the science and technical position. I would ask at this time, William Dubbs, to please approach the podium. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. Please self-regulate your time using the timer that is on the screen.
Thank you. It's with great respect and gratitude and humility that I stand here in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, today. Thanks for everything you guys do. It's much appreciated by the city and the communities. My name is Bill Dubbs. I'm a professional engineer approaching 20 years of experience, registered in the state of California. I'm a father of 3 young men. My youngest son graduating from high school this spring and heading off to his future at San Diego State University. Go Aztecs. I grew up in San Diego, and so did my 3 boys. We live within 500 yards of the working waterfront. And the experience, knowledge, and skills that I offer to the district are project-based. They include funding, design, and construction of engineered solutions that are aligned with an agenda for electrification and clean air initiatives. As an engineer, I've led projects that have replaced large diesel mobile harbor cranes with electric ones. I've built shore power for ships at berth and installed charging stations for cargo handling equipment and trucks. I'm a strong supporter of the low carbon fuel standard credit program, Harbor Drive 2.0, the M5 corridor, and other projects and initiatives that have served and will continue to serve communities like Portside. It stands without reason that environmental justice principles require communities to be empowered and to be able to speak for themselves, and for the governing board of this district to listen to the voices of the community steering communities and to communicate. As an engineer, my mind is trained to assemble and process data, to balance forces, and to find creative approaches that lead to practical solutions. Solutions that promote implementation of best available retrofit control technology. My goal is to bring my experience, knowledge, and skills to this governing board to continue the excellent work of the San Diego Air Pollution Control District that serves the communities of this great city, this city that we call home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. And now is the time for board questions. Seeing no questions for Mr. Ross. Dubbs, sorry. Mr. Dubbs. No questions for Mr. Dubbs? Yes, Member Gomez?
No, Member
Oh,
Gomez
she
cannot.
can't. It's, yeah, okay. Seeing none. Okay, thank you, Mr. Dubbs. All right.
Thank you. Our next applicant is Mr. John Hess. Is it Joe? My apologies, Joe Hess. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Please self-regulate your time using the timer on the screen.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of the San Diego Air Pollution Control District Governing Board. My name is Joe Hess, and I am honored to speak before you today as an applicant for the scientific member position on your board. I was born and raised, not in San Diego, but in the Inland Empire, just north of here, in what's normally the South Coast Air Quality Management District area. There, I experienced the effects of poor air quality firsthand, like many have talked about today. Smog alerts were common for me as a child. We could not leave school to go out and play in the playground due to a smog alert. And this greatly restricted our outdoor activities and left a lasting impression on me. These early experiences ignited a deep determination to understand and address pollution, not just air, but water. To pursue this passion, I earned a degree in environmental science from the University of California, Riverside. My education provided a strong foundation in understanding the chemistry of air pollution, including how pollutants are formed, dispersed, and their impacts on both the environment and public health. I further expanded my knowledge at San Diego State University, go Aztecs, where I pursued a master's in public health with an emphasis on occupational and environmental health. My thesis there was the progress of pollution prevention in San Diego County, where I explored the critical intersections of the economic and environmental challenges of the region. For over 30 years, I have worked across various industries in San Diego, including aerospace with General Dynamics, semiconductors with ST Microelectronics, and life sciences, all in San Diego. I currently work for Gilead Sciences in Oceanside, where I'm the Environmental Health, Safety, and Security Manager Director for that operation. My professional journey has centered on protecting employee health and safety while ensuring compliance with environmental regulations. Beyond compliance, I have served on the executive team and as a board member of the Industrial Environmental Association and as a task force member on the California Urban Water Conservation Council's Commercial Institutional Industrial Task Force. Through this work, I have developed and implemented programs to mitigate workplace hazards, managing environmental risk, and promote sustainable practices. I'm also proud to have attained the Certificate in Safety Professional designation, reflecting my commitment to excellence in safety and environmental management. These experiences have prepared me to address complex challenges and contribute meaningfully to the work of this board. At this point in my career, I feel a strong desire to give back to the San Diego region that has been both my home and the focus of my professional efforts. I am eager to bring my skills, dedication, and unique perspectives to the governing board, collaborating with you all to further improve air quality and safeguard the health and well-being of the community. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hess. Do any board members, elected board members, have questions for Mr. Hess? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Hess. You may return to your seat. Next.
Thank you. Our next applicant is William Powers. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Please begin by stating your name for the record and self-regulate your time using the timer on the screen.
Good afternoon, Governing Board. My name is Bill Powers. I'm a registered professional mechanical engineer with 40 years of experience, power systems, air pollution control. I have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Duke University, master's degree in environmental science from UNC Chapel Hill. I began my career in the 1980s as a Navy civilian engineer, tasked with keeping Navy and Marine Corps power plants operating and in compliance with air pollution control regulations. I started my own air quality consulting practice here in San Diego in the 1990s. In that capacity, I've permitted several power plants in San Diego County, including Children's Hospital in San Diego, Grossmont Hospital in La Mesa. And I've also defended the city of Carlsbad from an attempt to weaken the APCD's nitrogen oxide rule that would have negatively impacted that community. I've served 3 times on the APCD hearings boards. First time I was appointed by Bill Horn when I lived in Escondido in the 1990s. Later in 2018, I was appointed by former Supervisor Fletcher. And then in 2021, I was appointed by this governing board. In those first 2 instances, in my opinion, different rules applied to different petitioners. If you were well-resourced, you had a lawyer, if you had a consultant, or both, your variance was more or less a formality. If you were a small business, it was a different story. The current hearing board, appointed by this governing board, is a different matter. This is the best board that I've served on it in San Diego. And I want to acknowledge the legislation you authored, Mayor, for creating this governing board. This time we call the same strike zone on all applicants. Whether a petitioner is well-resourced or not, the petition is decided on the merits, and that is exactly how it should be. Air pollution control is a technical field. I'm interested in being on the governing board to be a resource for the group. And I can tell you that it will be my interest to watch for the public interest as a member of the board. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Powers, if you can hold for questions, please. Any members have questions for Mr. Powers? No? Okay, thank you. You may have a seat. Clerk, next applicant.
Thank you. Our next applicant is Paula Stigler Granados. You have 3 minutes to address the board. You may begin by stating your name for the record. Please self-regulate your time using the timer on the screen.
Thank you. Happy to be here today. It's good to see many of you who I know and some new faces who I don't know, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. My name is Dr. Paula Stigler Granados. I'm an environmental health scientist with over 20 years of experience in air and water pollution monitoring, regulatory compliance, and public health. So I'm an associate professor currently at the School of Public Health, San Diego State. I don't need to say go Aztecs again. So currently serve as the division head of our environmental health and division, which one of the applicants I think was a graduate of. So I love teaching there. Firstly, I want to mention that I do bring deep technical expertise and field-based experience to this position. My career began when I was working with the Paula Band of Mission Indians, our local tribe, as an air quality specialist. I managed and set up monitoring stations, developed regulatory programs for them, secured federal funding for clean air initiatives, which I do a lot of grant writing as an academic, and that's something I have to be very good at these days. This hands-on experience has taught me the importance of translating science data into actionable policies, which is what you all do here to protect our public health. Additionally, I served several years as the U.S. Tribal Co-Chair for the EPA Border Task Force for the San Diego-Tijuana region. That definitely deepened my understandings of the importance of stakeholder engagement, working with cross-border issues, binational collaboration, complex environmental challenges. And so, as some of you may know, in my more recent work, I've been looking at hydrogen sulfide levels and water-to-air pollution transfers from our transboundary sewage crisis that's happening in our South Bay communities. Just furthermore, I'd like to add that my role at SDSU, I think, as you all know, we're deeply embedded in our community work with the community engagement work that we do and translating that science. And just finally, I understand this necessity of balancing environmental protection and economic considerations. So I believe that effective air quality policies have to be science-based, they have to be practical, they have to be enforceable, they have to be developed with input from businesses, policymakers, and most importantly, the communities that they impact. So I'm committed to fostering collaborations across the board that achieve this balance, ensuring that our region's vitality is harmonized with the health and well-being of our residents, which is first and foremost. So in summary, for this position, I have a unique experience at this intersection of air quality, science, and public health, strong connections to the scientific community, especially some of our amazing colleagues that are here local, and leadership in both academic and applied settings. So I'd be honored to serve on the governing board, bringing my expertise, collaborative spirit, and commitment to balanced science-driven policy making to advance the health and prosperity of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Granados. And with that, do any board members have questions? No? Looking around, seeing none? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Our next applicant is Sterling Ross. You have 3 minutes to address the board.
Thank you again for allowing me to come up here. I thought I was actually going to be last. Again, my name is Sterling Ross. Thank you guys for your time. I come to you with a unique perspective that I will say again that I would be the only board member to have ever worked for the APCD and to be on the governing board. That gives me a perspective that is unique and also obviously very hard to find. I am a former chemist and former inspector at the APCD. In so doing, I have been to, I would say, somewhere around 60 to 80% of the businesses in San Diego County. First as an inspector and as a regulator, as the one person no one wants to see. And then as a chemist, which we were actually, scheduled to come in and be a part of their missions analysis. To do so, it took a tremendous amount of time and experience and mentorship by some of the best people in the game. And those would be my former chemists. As I said before, Mike Watt was one of my original trainers. Mike Watt was Inspector of the Year before he became assistant director. Sorry, Paul. And so what I did at sites is I had several roles. The district has several channels that need navigating that I provided insight into. AKA, I was on site for somewhere between 5 to 15 hours, and people that were regulated needed someone to talk to. I provided that person as well as the insight as to how to navigate what's going on. In my roles outside of the APCD as the environmental health and safety managers of 2 different power plants, actually a power plant and a fleet of power plants. Again, I provide that insight on the regulations and the specifics that go with that. In my current role, we also provide support for getting things permitted. Now that comes all the way down, all the way from backed to layer. Now, LAER is not a term that often gets mentioned, but that is the lowest achievable emission rate. So that is even lower than BACT. I have helped several facilities maintain that, as well as maintain compliance, and commented as well as provided insight on rules upcoming as well as in motion, as far as they are going to affect different facilities in the area. Thank you again for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ross. Any board member questions? Nope. All right, thank you. And then we have one final applicant.
Yes, Corey Zupo. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Please self-regulate your time using the timer on the screen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Corey Zupo. I am not using notes because in this role, we have to do it on the fly. So bear with me. I hopefully will cover everything. I myself am also from Inland Empire, Riverside. I lived there for 22 years. So in the 80s and 90s, I do remember smog alerts and having recess in the NPR. My parents hosing out our backyard because it had black soot. So with that being said, I went to UC Riverside. I studied environmental science. I was very passionate about air pollution, as you can imagine, and I'm a runner. At the age of 22, I moved to Los Angeles, and the best place I could afford was El Segundo. So I was like, oh, amazing, it's beachfront. I did not realize it was a hotspot for emissions. Should have figured that given all the industry, but it's the beach and it's LA. With that being said, I joined the environmental committee and I was the co-chair for over a decade. And in that role, I oversaw, we had a catastrophic Hyperion spill, sewage, over 17 million gallons into our ocean. And so we ourselves had a crisis with H2S. So as a committee, we had a petition and we got a fence line monitoring rule passed. It's still not done yet, but it's being done. We also had USC agree to come and study our committee, not our committee, our city, and look at the health impacts. So I have a lot of experience on getting things done during emergency and having to think quick. And I'm very passionate about it, obviously, too, because I live there and I have kids. From a professional standpoint, I'm sorry, I forgot about you mentioned that. I've been in the environmental industry for 18 years, focused on air pollution. I've worked in all sorts of industries, refineries, power plants, most notably airports. So I have 7 years of experience with Carl Moyle program, the low carbon fuel standard, getting electrification, working with all the different airports, including San Diego. And so alternative fuel programs, fleet averages, engine phase outs. So working with the stakeholders, the communities, you name it. I worked for a startup company for 2 years, a linear generator. It's a new ultra low emission technology. And so with that, we worked the South Coast for 2.5 years to get our own rule made. So I have lots of experience creating a rule for a technology that didn't exist until 2019. And it's ultra low emissions. So it's very tricky to do source tests because of the temperatures. So I also worked for a source test company. So I have lots of experience doing RADAs, linearities, air toxics, criteria pollutants. And with that being said, too, I subscribe to the South. I subscribe to your emails, and I've been seeing the Tijuana River readings. It's shocking. So I feel horrible for the people. And in El Segundo, we were able to get hotel vouchers, filtration systems for the community. But most importantly, this is where I see my value would be added is I know your hands are tied on quite a lot of this, but you have the data, and that data could be used for funding. Out of time, and Carl Moyer program.
Thank you. And if you could just be on hold, any board members have questions? All right, seeing none. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to public comment at this time. Our first will be Anthony Dang. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board.
Good afternoon again, board. Anthony Dang with Policy Advocate with Climate Action Campaign. In terms of the scientific technical seat, since there are many applicants, we are enthusiastic to support both Bill Powers and Paula Stiegler-Granados as the two most qualified candidates. With 40 years of engineering experience, Bill Powers stands out. His career has wide reach across many industries and also regions of our country, giving him a unique lens to address our challenges. Additionally, his rare blend of technical expertise on air quality and commitment to the San Diego community makes him an ideal choice. Several applicants are on the APCD hearing board, What makes Bill Powers stand out is his commitment to community health. One example of this is where he led the hearing board conversation to prioritize community health and voices to remove new leaf biofuel from Barrio Logan because they were releasing fumes disturbing the community. The other choice is Paula Stiegler-Granados as an environmental health scientist from SDSU. As a scientist, her research focuses on air and water pollution monitoring, regulatory policy, and community engagement. Previously, she has served as the air quality specialist for the Palo Band of Mission Indians, and she was the co-chair for the US EPA's San Diego-Tijuana Border Air Quality Task Force. She has unique research focus on South Bay communities as well, all of this making her an asset for addressing the Tijuana River sewage crisis. All that said, the board has two fabulous candidates to coalesce around, Bill Powers and Paula Stiegler-Granados. We hope you all can discuss and come to a conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Nicholas Paul. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Please begin by stating your name for the record.
Hello again, governing board members and staff. Nicolas Paul with the Environmental Health Coalition. I wanted to echo my colleague Anthony Dang and his sentiments. EHC, again, I'm going to reference the letter that we submitted for the public record earlier or late last week. Because of all the incredible candidates that decided to apply for this position, we felt it was appropriate to duly endorse William Powers and Dr. Paula Stiegler-Granados. Really, the crux of why we decided these two candidates were the most appropriate is, this is a highly technical field and requires a tremendous amount of detailed technical expertise. William Powers and Dr. Paula Granados undoubtedly have that, right? But what makes them different, I think, from other candidates is their ability to translate those materials in a way that community members can understand. And so we've been able to see William Powers do so on the hearing board. Some references to the new leaf biofuel issue was a situation where I think his ability to directly engage with community members, indirectly engage with community members through the hearing board process, I think really highlights his ability to take, again, extremely technical concepts and translate it in a way that community members can understand. Dr. Paula Stiegler-Granados is an educator and is leading in one of San Diego County's leading research institutions. Seeing her engage in one of the biggest environmental justice issues in our region now with the TJ River Valley issue is really great to see. And we think that she can contribute an excellent perspective to this hearing board. And so for those reasons, we're endorsing both candidates. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jack Munger. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Please begin by stating your name for the record.
Thank you, members of the board. My name is Jack Munger. I'm representing the Industrial Environmental Association this morning or this afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. What a fabulous list of candidates you had. As you noted, Mayor, who would have thought this was going to be this way 4 years ago? But you've got some great folks to choose between here. I'm here this afternoon to speak on behalf of someone I've known for over a decade and provide recommendations and reasons why I think Joe Hess would be an outstanding selection for this seat. Let me begin by saying Joe wakes up every day focused on the health and safety of over 800 employees at Gilead Sciences. That's not an 8-hour day job. That's a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He has to worry about their health in the operations field, the health and their safety on the job. It's practical. It's something that I believe would be of great value to this committee to understand what it is to be in that sort of a role with a local San Diego company. Secondly, Joe brings something that is also unique in a way to this board, and that is his experience not just on air quality side of issues, but also water quality. He's had responsibilities for both and has sat on just recently a state committee focused on statewide clean water standards. So why is that? Why should you be see any value in clean water? Well, as we have all learned in the last couple of years, having experienced the situation in the Tijuana River Valley, what we thought was just a water pollution problem has quickly turned into a water and an air pollution issue. So having someone with that diverse experience, that practical experience, I think would make a significant contribution to this board. So I've known him to be a straight talking, direct and always respectful individual, always willing to listen to other opinions and other people, no matter what side of life they may come from, and something that's really important. So with that, I would like to encourage your support for Joe Hess, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Our next speaker is our virtual caller, 0674. 0674, you may begin by stating your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Just making sure.
Yeah. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Rachel Abbott. I'm a family medicine physician and a member of Climate Action Campaign's Public Health Advisory Council. Today, I'm here to strongly recommend Dr. Paula Stiegler-Granados or Bill Powers for the position of Technical Scientific Representative to the APCD. They've both demonstrated extensive experience and expertise in this field, as well as a commitment to the community's well-being that will enhance their effectiveness as representatives. Furthermore, I trust that Dr. Granados or Powers will further propel San Diego to a distinction as one of the cleanest and greenest cities in America. In contrast, designating an employee of SDG&E, which is a fossil fuel dependent, earnings focused company without interest in enhancing our community's health and well-being, would be a massive mistake. In this pivotal time, we need to make critical decisions that will reduce air pollution to provide a healthier future for our communities. My patients and all of San Diego communities have a right to clean air to enhance the health of our minds and bodies, thus creating a more productive, thriving, and livable San Diego. Please appoint Dr. Paula Stiegler-Granados or Bill Powers to the position of Technical Scientific Representative for the APCD. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker is Truth, 3731. 3731. You may come off mute. You can begin by stating your name for the record.
All right, it's Truth, as you said. Thank you. So the whole process seems to mean that a certain type of individual can pick another certain type of individual. So you have like environmental justice. So if someone on the board is the same category, is that not like an ideological conflict of interest? It's also kind of subjective, like having an art degree. But I do want to thank those who gave their personal lived experiences with bad air quality. That's very important, but it also doesn't make someone qualified by default. There are other character qualities. For example, cooperation. Can you work well with others? Because, I could give a victim story too about suffering from bad air quality, which is also why I care. But it wouldn't make me a person that you would want to work with necessarily, unless you saw some proven character qualities that would work well with others, that would set goals, try to achieve them. I'm just giving some other examples for people. And even your resume itself doesn't make you qualified. It's many factors. I just want to say that for the record. Maybe because some applicants made government and APCD sound like a lifetime career. I'm not sure if tangible results have been achieved or even the goal versus politics, hence Todd's appearance today. I would love to see that deficiency change with new members on the whole. Other than Paula Stiegler-Granados and maybe Corey Zuppo, I don't really support any of the rest of the candidates for any of the roles. Sorry. There's too many clear red flags of ideological conflicts of interest, including moneyed interests, and with all of the various politically influenced groups vying for political power. And I'm not going to get into the deep, dark web of those groups. I'm just going to say regular people obviously need to start applying to these positions. So can APCD start doing outreach at, say, various events in different cities to get people to know what APCD even is? Because we need to start at that point first, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment on this item, on this category.
Okay, so with that, we will close the interview portion of this. We're just going to be going to board discussion and then a motion. We do have, I'll say this, we have some amazing qualified candidates. I really think everyone that came up here and spoke, I really appreciate your time and giving us the insight into your background and your passion for what you hope to do here. So with that, I'll share some of my thoughts before I take accept a motion. But for right now, my
Chair,
absolute,
can I make a brief point of order?
Yeah,
Or
yes,
comment?
yes.
Just because of the description you mentioned, like that you would get some thoughts and then potentially entertain a motion. Respectfully, I would appreciate it, and I think the candidates, since we have so many, would appreciate us following the procedure that we set out in the agenda for this procedure, which would be that there would be no motions made or allowed until each board member was able to nominate up to 3 maximum candidates for consideration. I'm not saying you were going to do that, but I just wanted to respectfully mention that given the amount and the quality of the candidates, I think we should comply with our stated agenda procedure on this item.
Correct. So just to be clear, that's why I was talking about having the discussion first and then having the actual from the floor, the nominations and the top 3. So, but I appreciate that clarification.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay, so with that, I'll kick off the discussion and then whoever else wants to speak, just chime in. But some great candidates. And right now, my top choice, who I'd like to nominate, is Dr. Paula Granados. The reason why I've worked with her in this last year on air pollution issues, on air quality issues, and specifically, as she mentioned earlier, the hydrogen sulfide that's coming from the sewage crisis in the Tijuana River. I was able to see firsthand how instrumental she was on getting us monitors, on connecting the scientists with the health experts at the county. There was definitely some back and forth and finger pointing from the different public agencies and dismissing a lot of the citizens from Coronado, from Imperial Beach, and from South San Diego. And I really appreciate Dr. Granados. I got to see firsthand how she cut through a lot of that, just stick to the science, educating me as a board member about the importance of this and how it affects health. So I just wanted to say that there's some amazing candidates out here, including Bill Powers as well. But for now, Dr. Paula Granados is my top choice. And so with that, I'd like to hear other comments. Member Duncan, since you kind of kicked us off a little bit, would you like to just talk about who your preference is or who you'd like to see nominated?
Sure. So I guess under the procedure, then I would nominate. I was impressed, and I'm happy to give a little clarifying comments of why. I do think that boards thrive when there is some variety of board members, that we shouldn't all have like exactly the same board members. And also I am somewhat sensitive, even though I will of course vote for whoever I think is right, but I am somewhat sensitive to an outside group controlling all of the appointments, and that every appointment to this board comes from, endorsements from one outside group. And but of course, if again, I think it's the first person, I will vote for that person. But those are just pre-comments I wanted to make. I think that in regard, though, to adding a variety or something different to this board, I thought Joe Hess was someone who I think both his experience and in the way he discusses matters could provide a very strong perspective for this board. I also thought that Mr. Dubs, so I guess I would have 2. I'd recommend that I'm going to nominate Mr. Joe Hess and then William Dubs, because I thought Mr. Dubs, even though we had a lot of candidates and maybe everybody didn't necessarily hear him perfectly, when I reflect on his comments, the electrification, and you long-term board members know it tremendously better than I do, but for me, the electrification issues been like probably one of the most amazing things that this board has done with an effect on air quality for Coronado and for us, with the generators no longer running, with the cruise ships running all the time, and having electrification, the ferries that are coming that this board has supported, which is an incredible thing. I think his background and strength in that area is something that could potentially provide an additional perspective
to the board. I did think most of the candidates were excellent and all of them could be very, very strong. So it's kind of difficult. And I just want to say two things in regard to that for respect for all the candidates. When I run for something, I'm very annoyed if I don't get any, endorsements or nominations or whatever. But I think the candidates were really good. And I just want to say one other thing out of respect. If you see me looking down at my phone, we don't have a printed agenda. So I'm looking at your qualifications and the information that was provided about you while you were speaking. So I just wanted to let you know I was playing a game on my phone and being disrespectful. So that's the extent of my comments. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Member Duncan. Other board member comments? Yes, Member Koval.
Thank you. Yes. I got to come into this process completely agnostic because I don't know anybody that was nominated for any position. Getting to meet them today for the first time. Well, I met you last month, but this is, we don't know each other. So we really had to, or at least I really had to rely on reading the applicants and the resumes and the qualifications, but it's also very helpful to hear all of you speak. And I wrote different notes about each person, and there's no negative here. Everybody's very qualified. My top three in no particular order: Dr. Granados, Bill Powers, and Joe Hess. The things that stuck out to me, and Member Duncan, you mentioned, Joe, those are the same notes that I wrote. With Bill Powers, I really appreciate his regional experience, and I think that's something that's needed on this board. And the fact that he mentioned fair treatment to agencies. It doesn't matter how much money you have or what your lawyers look like. And that to me is important. And then Dr. Granados, her experience in several agencies, but the thing that I wrote down was her tribal experience, and I think that's needed as well in the region. So I don't know where we go. I'd like to hear more discussion on what your thoughts are, but those were my top three and the reasons why.
Okay, thank you, Member Koval. Other board member comments? Anyone else? Oh, yes, Member Lawson Reamer.
Thank you, Todd, for noticing me. And thank you, Chair, for calling on me. I just wanted to say I've had the pleasure of working both with Bill Powers and Dr. Granados. They both bring tremendous expertise and have really, I think, been important from a technical standpoint on these issues. And I think they would both make really excellent additions to this board.
All right, thank you, Member Lawson Reamer. Okay, final call for member comments. Yes, Member Gloria.
Thank you, Chair. I would just, first of all, I want to thank every one of the applicants. As is referenced, I'm maybe the guy who broke it and bought it now that we reformed this organization and created these seats. And as mentioned before, I think when doing this several years ago, I couldn't have envisioned a situation where there are competing candidates for the same position. But I think that's indicative of the importance of this organization and a part of why I authored that legislation. And it's just personally very satisfying. You can imagine to have written a bill years ago and see not just a number of people competing for it, but all of you are highly qualified. Many of you are already, all of you are directly contributing to solutions on this problem. Some of you are already directly serving this body, and I appreciate it. So I don't know that we can make a bad choice. And truly, thank you for taking time off from your jobs and coming downtown and all the good stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In terms of like my colleagues listening to the commentary, I think, again, I don't think there's any bad choices here, but Mr. Powers, Dr. Granados, and Mr. Dubs all stood out to me as in terms of saying things that resonated for me personally in terms of what I'm hoping for from this position. And so, again, I think we have an embarrassment of riches, Mr. Chairman, but that's my 2 cents. Look forward to making a decision this afternoon.
All right, thank you, Member Gloria. I appreciate those comments. Okay, any final board comments before I move on to nominations? Okay, hearing none, I will go ahead and move into nominations. And just based on the discussion, I was taking notes of what everyone's comments are, and I heard support for Mr. Hess, Mr. Dubs, Dr. Granados, and Mr. Powers. The common theme that I heard everyone, at least who has the most support, seemed to be Dr. Granados. And so I would go ahead and nominate Dr. Granados and then go from there.
I'd like to second that nomination.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And did you have comments, Member Campbell?
I'm impressed with everyone's credentials, but I think Dr. Granados will bring a certain amount of all around fairness, considering every part scientifically as well as academically of all the situations that we're faced with as an outstanding professor. I really appreciate that about her. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Member Campbell. With that, we will go ahead and move to a roll call vote, but I will just say one final thing. Again, thank you to all the applicants. I really encourage you to still continue to get involved with some of the organizations here, IEA, whoever else, because this is a good opportunity. It's exciting to see that there's so much interest here. So with that, I'll have the clerk go ahead and do a roll call vote.
We will do a roll call vote for the nomination of Paula Stigler Granados. Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Duncan?
Yes.
Member Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Member Gloria? Member Lawson Reamer?
Yes.
Member Koval?
Yes.
And Chair Bush?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion passes with those elected members who are present voting aye.
Okay, thank you, Clerk. Congratulations, Dr. Paula Granados. With that, we are going to take a 5-minute recess so that procedurally we can have the clerk administer the oath of office to our new members. So with that, we are recessed until, let's see, it's until 3:46. Going to reconvene, restart the meeting. If everyone could get to their seats, give some time for that. Oh, you printed that out quickly.
I come prepared.
So you wasted paper. Okay, that's okay. All right.
I would like to note for the record that we do have member Stigler Granados joining us for the meeting. And we will now move on to
And
item
then
3.
member Fitzgerald had to leave.
Member Fitzgerald and member Gloria, and it looks like member Lawson Reamer as well have left the meeting.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to item D3, which is the appointment to the Standing Committee on Planning Policy. So, and we're no longer taking comments, but clerk, can you provide the testimony and the other information on this item?
Thank you. We've already received requests to speak on this item, and those that have submitted requests to speak will be heard at the conclusion of any staff comments on this, or any chair comments on this item.
Okay, so then we call, so it's my comments first and then we go to public comment?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so my nominations? Is
Any
that what?
comments that you may have or any introductory comments, if you have none, we can go directly to public comment.
Understood. Well, one thing I'll just say before we get to public comment is that I'm very open and flexible on this. I know I talked to member Campbell and member Campbell was not interested in being part of this committee, but I have asked Dr. Birkbeck Garcia, member Vice Chair Birkbeck Garcia, who has been serving on this committee for years. I've asked her if she's interested and to step in with her experience as chair of that subcommittee. So she did accept. I believe member Koval had expressed some interest in this as well. And anyone else, I mean, you don't have to say it right now, but just think about it. We're open to candidate nominations. And I would encourage all of you to nominate yourselves because we have had struggles in the past on getting nominees. So really want to encourage you all to apply, or to be nominated. So with that, we'll go ahead with the public comment.
We have one member of the public wishing to address the board on this item. It's a virtual caller, 3731. You can begin by stating your name for the record.
Hey, it's Truth. First, who actually wants to be appointed? And I said appointed, not anointed, for those who get confused in politics. I would actually like to nominate the political game players, Todd and Tara, who proved me correct. But for real, whoever is serious about it, I think I heard Laura was serious about it. Well, then you can do it. Why not? You want more work? Go ahead. But I can recommend Laura for anything. I know she's takes everything very seriously, works very hard. And I did not get paid to say that, just for the record. But a standing planning and policy committee, it sounds like it's a very political based committee. Actually, I'm surprised Todd and Terry didn't want to nominate themselves for that. Because the committee being delegated the authority to approve position statements on state and federal legislation that may not be identified in the legislative and policy priority guideline sounds a little bit underhanded. What is the justification for ignoring the will of the entire board to potentially go against what direction was decided? And public input that wouldn't even be included in that type of free-for-all. So I think that's the Pandora's box that needs to be closed shut. If it wasn't voted on to be a legislative priority, then bring it publicly to the entire board to decide. There's no reason there could be a special meeting if it's that important. But hopefully you guys are going to put good people on and not make it political so that real legislative changes can be made, because that is definitely what the state of California needs. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment on this item.
Okay, moving on to board discussion, and after some discussion, I'll go ahead and make a nomination. But member Gomez, are you interested in serving on this committee? You were on it before, so are you interested?
I feel like I've done my duties, so
Okay,
I'll
no
see
pressure.
if there's any
No
others
pressure.
that would love to participate. I'll let others.
Okay, you know what? What I will do right now, and just folks can tell me if they want to opt out of this, but we will go ahead and I'll nominate a 5-member committee. So Vice Chair Birkbeck Garcia, member Koval, member Duncan, member Fitzgerald, Fitzgerald. Didn't talk to her, so hopefully she's cool with this. And then member Granados, I'd like to nominate. So I want to put it open to any other discussions or thoughts.
You also didn't talk to me, Chair. No, I'm just kidding.
That's true.
I appreciate, my only concern is just, do we know, because I don't know when the when they meet or the time commitment that is. And I just say that because on Sandak, I do serve on the Board of Directors, the Executive Committee, and the Transportation Committee as well.
Got it. Well, so, and just so you know, so this is intended to be in terms of the scheduling. I think we had it, was it Thursdays that we had it?
Previously every other, I'm sorry, it was in the months opposite the governing board meetings on the same Thursday. So the second Thursday of the month in the afternoon in the month opposite the governing board meetings.
Does it have to meet downtown? Can we meet?
So we had moved the meetings intentionally to this space, and I believe Marvis has reserved this space for those meetings.
Yes. Yes, in times past, we've met at the APCD headquarters, which is in Scripps Ranch. But we've been for this year, we would be meeting here.
Right.
I will say, I believe it's the board's discretion as long as it meets the Brown Act on the location. And so given just everyone's spread out geographically, I mean, I think it would be up to this committee and the chair of the subcommittee to decide on where. But I will say that that the reason it's been held here is really for security purposes and the safety of our staff. So as much as like I want to be open to what you guys decide there, just bear in mind that we've had some security issues at our meetings. And so that this provides the best place. And I think that it would be up to staff and the chair of the subcommittee to work with each of you so that we can accommodate your schedules.
Just a quick question. So is this committee, is it a Brown Act open meeting? It is? Okay, so then it would have the same rules for remote participation potentially. Okay. Well, I mean, I'd be willing to serve unless somebody else has a desire to serve instead. And I appreciate the location of it.
Also the discussion we had. Okay, so with that, we had a motion. Can I get a second? Okay, we have member Campbell second, and then clerk, could you please call for the, I think the voice vote is fine.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? With members Lawson, Reamer, Gloria, and Fitzgerald absent, that motion passes with those board members who are present voting aye.
All right, thank you. All right, moving to the next item, D4, right?
Yes.
The public hearing, adoption of new rules 67.26. Commercial charbroiling operations and corresponding amendments to rules 11, 12, and 40. So at this point, per the governing board administrative code, request to speak will no longer be accepted. Clerk, if you could provide the public testimony instructions, and we'll turn over to staff by Deputy Director Mike Watts so he can go over the presentation.
Thank you. All requests to speak have been received, and all public speakers will be heard at the conclusion of the staff presentation.
Okay. Director Watts.
Thank you, Chair Bush. San Diego County is in need of particulate matter reductions to ensure the region is in good position to meet federal attainment deadlines. This item requests governing board approval for a proposed new rule to implement readily available technology that's been in use in several counties around California, which can result in quickly achieving significant particulate matter emission reductions from commercial charbroiling operations and meaningful public health benefits. I'll now turn it over to our wonderful air quality engineer, Miriam Sanchez, who will provide more details on this proposal.
Thank you, Mike. Good afternoon, members of the board. Today, I'll be presenting an overview of proposed new rule 67.26, commercial charbroiling operations, as well as proposed amendments to districts rule 11, 12, and 40. Next slide, please. A charbroiler is defined as a cooking device that uses flames to cook food, specifically meat, to create a charred smoky flavor, smoke particulate matter known as PM, and volatile organic compounds known as VOCs, They're created when fat drips into the flames during these type of operations, which contribute to air pollution. There are two main types of commercial charbroilers. The first one is chain-driven charbroilers, which are semi-enclosed charbroilers that use mechanized chains or conveyor belts to automatically carry out the food and cook the food on both sides at the same time. These type of charbroilers are typically natural gas fuels devices, and although commonly found at fast food restaurants, to allow for high volume cooking. They can also be found at other full service restaurants, not just chain restaurants. On the other hand, an under fire charbroiler cooks food only on one side at a time, which is similar to a residential barbecue grill. Together, the source category of charbroiling emits about 13% of the overall inventory of PM 2.5 emissions in the San Diego County. Today's action will not only affect businesses that use chain-driven charbroilers and not under fire charbroilers. Next slide, please. Staff, the public, and the governing board supported reducing emissions from charbroiling operations in previous air quality plans to support region-wide and community-level emission reductions. Measure S6 within the regional air quality strategy identified a charbroiling rule as a way to reduce VOCs, which contribute to ozone. At the community level, action C3 was identified to reduce PM emissions from restaurant operations in the 2021 port site served. Additionally, the region overall now has a greater need to reduce PM emissions to help attain new and more stringent health standards for the PM 2.5 that was set by the EPA last year. Proposed new rule, if adopted today, would support all of these efforts and improve air quality. Next slide, please. Proposed new rule 67.26, if adopted today, would apply to owners of new chain-driven charbroilers at commercial, of new and existing chain-driven charbroilers at commercial cooking facilities in the county. For the purposes of this new rule, chain-driven refers to the mechanism used in the device itself and not whether the restaurant is a chain restaurant. Because of limited availability of emission controls, under fire charbroilers would be completely exempt from the proposed new rule. The rule itself, as well as the thresholds it contains, are similar to those found in comparable rules in Los Angeles, Orange, Ventura, San Joaquin, and Bay Area regions. This emission control technology is mature and has been in use for over 2 decades in other areas in California. As a result, staff does not anticipate technology availability concerns. Next slide, please. If adopted today, proposed new rule 67.26 would be effective on July 1st, though record keeping and maintenance requirements would begin immediately. If a chain-driven charbroiler subject to rule cooks at least 450 pounds of meat per week, excuse me, the proposed new rule would require the facility to apply for a registration or a permit no later than July 1st, 2026, and install an emission control device no later than December 31st, 2026. The applicability threshold that was set at 450 pounds per week aligns with other air districts rules for statewide consistency. Facilities electing to install a certified emission control device is called a catalytic oxidizer, and they will be able to register their equipment pursuant to Rule 12 instead of procuring a more costly permit to operate in the case they choose to install an emission control device that's not certified, but still establishes and meets the emission control efficiency requirements. Next slide, please. The proposed new rule would only apply to commercial cooking facilities, meaning residential cooking operations and those found in micro enterprise kitchens at homes would both be completely exempt. Also, as mentioned, under fire charbroilers would be exempt because of limited emission control device availability. Flat top grills and griddles would also be exempt since their operation does not produce emissions from the fat dripping into the open flames. The district also established pathways for limited seasonal use or low-emitting chain-driven charbroilers, meaning if a chain-driven charbroiler does not exceed the cooking quantity limits or the daily emission thresholds shown on this slide. They would not require a registration or a permit or have to install an emission control device, provided they can demonstrate such through records or emission testing. Next slide, please. The proposed new rule would require high volume facilities to install an emission control device on existing and new chain-driven charbroilers. Staff anticipates that in most cases, facilities will opt to install a certified catalytic oxidizer, which has been demonstrated to South Coast Air District as having at least 80% control efficiency for PM emissions and at least 86% control efficiency for VOC emissions. Facilities who either retrofit an existing charbroiling unit or have a catalytic oxidizer already installed. They could either retrofit an existing charbroiler or they could have the catalytic oxidizer already installed at the factory for new equipment. So as long as the equipment is certified by South Coast, it will be compliant with San Diego's rule. The proposed rule will also allow for non-certified emission control devices to be used if the facility can demonstrate it meets minimum emission control efficiency rates. Maintenance of the emission control devices will also be required. Next slide, please. Facilities that have, excuse me. I think I might have skipped blank. That's it. Yeah. Facilities that have charbroilers subject to the proposed rule will have options on how they would like to comply in terms of permits required. Should a facility like to install a certified catalytic oxidizer, the district will require that each catalytic oxidizer combination applies for registration pursuant to Rule 12. And this is designed to be a more streamlined, less expensive process. However, if a facility installs a non-certified or alternative emission control system, which is less common, an authority to construct and or permit to operate will be needed for each chain-driven charbroiler. Next slide, please. It's important to note that while not all chain-driven charbroilers will require emission controls, the district does expect and will require that owners of all chain-driven charbroilers subject to the proposed new rule to maintain weekly and yearly records for the quantity and type of meat cooked on each device. This documentation will help facilities and inspectors determine applicability with a proposed rule or demonstrate that facilities are actually exempt from emission control requirements. A facility that is exempt from the rule would not be required to send any records to the district, but they would be required to maintain these records on site for possible district inspection and keep them for at least 5 years. Additionally, the district has included information about applicable test methods used for certified and non-certified units as shown on the screen and in section I of the proposed new rule. Next slide, please. To accommodate proposed new rule 67.26, 3 additional districts rules will also require concurrent amendment today. Rule 11 will be amended to remove an existing exemption associated with the charbroiling equipment at eating establishments. No other revisions to Rule 11 outside of the scope of the associated charbroiler rule action will be considered today. Rule 12 will require an amendment to add the option to register chain-driven charbroilers equipped with a certified catalytic oxidizer. And finally, district's Rule 40 will also be amended and effective July 1st this year to add a required fee rule schedule, Schedule 16, for charbroiling equipment that is registered or obtains a permit to operate from the district. Next slide, please. The district estimates approximately 200 known facilities, as shown on this map, that may have a chain-driven charbroiler, which is unlikely to already be operating with an emission control device. Costs to install a catalytic oxidizer currently ranges between $1,200 and $5,000 plus installation. And it is unlikely it will require structural modification to restaurants or charbroiling units. The district expects most facilities will be able to install these less expensive devices to achieve cost-effective emission reductions. In some unique cases, a facility may elect to purchase a brand new charbroiler with an emission control device already installed, which would be more expensive. The district anticipates the proposed new rule will reduce approximately 20 tons of PM 2.5 and 6 tons of VOCs upon full implementation, which represents about 80% for PM and VOCs compared to the baseline emissions. Using EPA's COBRA tool, these reductions will equate to annually reducing up to 450 minor restricted activity and lost work days, and up to 240 negative health incidents. Next slide, please. The district conducted extensive outreach in the development of proposed new rule, as shown on this slide. These efforts included bilingual emails, mail-outs, surveys, social media, workshops, and collaboration with the industry, including the San Diego County Restaurant Association and the San Diego County Lodging Association, to help us spread out the word and about the rule and help us shape its requirements. We also worked extensively with the County Department of Environmental Health and Quality's Food and Housing Division to procure some current restaurant information and data to help us assist in the also help us assist in the outreach about the proposed new rule. Next slide, please. Today's recommendations are as followed. First, to consider and find that the proposed rule is associated amendments will not have significant effect on the environment pursuant to CEQA. Second, adopt the resolution. And finally, direct the air pollution control officer to forward documentation to CARB and EPA as applicable for inclusion in the state implementation plan. Next slide, please. This concludes my presentation today. We're available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And then clerk, if you don't mind going back on the previous slide, just so we could see what the recommendations are. So then I'll turn it back over to you.
And I'll pull this back up. We do have public comment and both speakers are virtual, so I'm going to pull them back up on the screen. But in order to do so, I have to come out of this. So our first speaker is 6435. And if you give me just a minute, I'll have you up on the screen. (6435), you can begin when you're ready. Please state your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board.
All right. Good afternoon, members of the board. I'm Chris Duggan with the California Restaurant Association, San Diego County chapter. The CRA represents over 8,700 restaurants that employ more than 125,000 team members across San Diego County, making restaurants a major economic driver in our region. I am testifying today to express our serious concerns regarding item 4, the proposed new rule related to charbroiling operations. While CRA appreciates and shares the district's ongoing concerns over reducing emissions and managing compliance with state and federal ozone standards, our member restaurants remain heavily concerned with the significant economic and feasibility impacts that may be associated with the proposed rules before you today. We base our concerns on 3 primary factors. The first is cost. While it is stated in the staff report that the cost effectiveness for the purchase and installation of flameless catalytic oxidizers are justified, CRA believes the increased costs associated with retrofitting existing controls on chain-driven charbroilers are real and could be significant, especially with our franchisees operating on very slim margins. Second is the known unknowns. The proposed new rule may trigger a potential need for ancillary equipment, additional upgrades, or renovations that are above and beyond just adding a catalytic oxidizer or thermal incinerator, including hood and ventilation system upgrades and modifications. Lastly, maintenance and record keeping. As we all know, with any new retrofit or ancillary equipment, so comes additional maintenance, and this may require specialized technicians or training. As for the mandated record keeping, this will only add to our team members' tasks on a daily routine, and which ultimately adds to the overall cost burden on these restaurants. It is for these reasons that we respectfully request the governing board avoid adding any additional regulatory mandates on small restaurants and vote no on item 4. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Our next speaker is 3731. Please state your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board.
Thank you. It's Truth. Just when I'm going to finally eat lunch, APCD wants to make sure I can't afford the lunch. And it feels like Filipino and Vietnamese restaurants are the target. I definitely got a problem with that. I mean, how could you argue that they're not, since they probably do more charbroiling than anyone else? Why in 2021 did this board vote for control measure S6? It's literally called control measure. Absolutely no to Nazis who want to control businesses that cook 415 pounds of meat. That actually helps keep people from starving to death. So you could do a cost-benefit analysis. Are you saving more lives by stopping alleged pollution particles, or are you killing more people by making sure they can't afford to eat? See, I bet you didn't think about that. And I asked, what enforcement authority does APCD even have other than fees and fines? This item claims that there's a new federal ozone standard coming. But is that a guarantee from the Trump administration? I don't think it is. Maybe a legislative policy change could be advocated for by the Planning and Policy Committee. How come no one's talking about dismantling naval activity for the Portside Environmental Justice Plan? Why are you focused on food? That's a misplaced priority. Targeting charbroilers owned by commercial operators is another trick to try and tax successful businesses, because how many people have died or gotten sick specifically from the conveyor belts? Not the junk food, the belts. Nobody. Microwaves are more dangerous to health than conveyor belts, yet there's radio silence about radio waves. Requiring businesses to pay more application fees and pay for more permits and to buy $5,000 plus catalytic oxidizers, plus the maintenance, plus the installation, is to ensure more profit losses to put them out of business. California is already overpriced on everything, and this nonsense is why. This type of nonsense is why. It's just one of many. Doing the math on this made-up 415-pound number, that translates to only 59 one-pound burgers sold per week. That's nothing. What if all a business sells is burgers and fries? That's discrimination against their business. And what if a business charbroils 415 pounds of tofu? APCD is going to ignore that cooking? It does the same thing. And only 8 people were reached in APCD's public outreach. What a joke. Pursuant to reality, this nonsense will have a significant effect on costs for food operators, which means we all pay more to eat. Things are already too expensive. The prices are literally going up every month, and this is your priority. This will negatively affect our most vulnerable low-income residents, people of color, as if they are mere collateral damage of APCD's bad decisions. And it will also mean that Cesar Javier, who was unlawfully banned from the next meeting, was right about APCD. It's not about solving real air pollution issues. It's a money-making agency profiting off permits. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment on this item.
Okay, so with that, we're moving on to board comment, and then just clarification on Truth, because that is true. So just to clarify, Mr. Javier is not banned. I learned that I cannot do that. So you are right on that, Truth. But with that, let's move on to board member comments. I know member Duncan has to leave, and we do have to take action on this before we lose quorum. So member Gomez, questions, comments?
I have a question, and one is, I appreciate and support the idea. I just want clarification because I'm looking at the public engagement and outreach, and it seems like there was a lot of attempt, but it looks like there was very little engagement. Just want to clarify that. Like, how much did we actually get in terms of input? Because that's one area that, according to this, the virtual workshop was attended by 12 people, and that also includes district staff. So I don't know how many people there were that weren't not attached to
I think that's accurate. I'll ask our supervisor, Nick Cormier, to expand on that if he has any more information.
Sure. I think Member Gomez, I think your numbers are accurate in terms of what we put out in our response to comments report. We did have about 12 people, I think, attend. A few of those were staff. I think we clarified in the response to comments report how many of those were staff. We did do probably the most significant attempt to reach restaurant owners in terms of a rulemaking process than I think we've ever done for this particular rulemaking. We worked, as Mary mentioned in the staff presentation, we tried to get physical addresses for all the restaurants that we thought could potentially, or we thought were potentially subject to this rule. We got email addresses through the same avenues with the Department of Environmental Health. That equated to over 2,000 individual facilities. We also worked with them to have them publish this information through their own circles as well, which is not something we typically do. So we needed to cross thread a bit to try to reach as many people as possible with this. We also tried to work with them with a voluntary survey very early on in this process to try to get as much information and to try to get as many people involved in this process as we could from a very early stage. I think all told, in terms of the email addresses, at least that we sent things to, it was about over 20,000 email addresses all told between APCD's email system and then the Department of Food divisions. So while I agree that there was, we attempted to try to put our best foot forward on this. And then also the Restaurant Association as well, also I think spread the word about this as well through their own circles.
And I'll add to, just to clarify, the reason why working with the county's food and health division is appropriate, because those are the folks that go out and do the inspections of all these restaurants. You see the A, B, C ratings and windows. And so we thought that was a really good conduit to try to get to these folks. Like Nick said, unfortunately, for whatever reason, we didn't get that engagement that we were hoping for. I also think staff made a couple site visits, if I recall correctly, to a few restaurants as well to try to get some understanding about how operations work. But yeah, we would have hoped for a better turnout than we got, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think to supplement that, staff's also developed videos that were posted to our website, went to the community steering committees for both Portside and Border, trying to, again, complement what was already going on, the outreach to the restaurants themselves.
Yeah, and like I said, I see that there was extensive attempts. It's just that engagement is really concerning to me. And this is not to question the lack of, and because of that limited physical engagement, it just concerns me because I feel like this is a major economic impact to the operator. And I'm sure that it might be I do care about businesses. I just feel like perhaps taking another round and maybe working with us, that we have perhaps venues to connect people to impacted restaurants that might get impacted. Maybe if there is I would recommend that we take another shot in extending the public engagement just to get a little bit of more input. Or also perhaps look at creating some sort of pilot approach in terms of implementing this rule. I don't know if there's an ability, just like what we did in previous pilots for electrification, early adapters could get subsidy. I know that there isn't any money right now attached to this. Perhaps we can go to CARB to ask for resources for support for the implementation. And I know they too are hurting, but I'm concerned that we're about to do a major change, which I support 100%, but just the immediate impact is a concern of mine.
Okay, here's what I would suggest, Member Gomez, and I do share similar concerns. So staff, is this pressing in terms of time? Because what I would suggest is that maybe we hold this item over to May, and perhaps in the in-between time, you all can do some additional outreach to the Restaurant Association or whoever. For me, I know staff did do a lot of this outreach work, and that hadn't been done before. So I don't want to totally restart the whole public input process, but I think in this next month that should give them enough time to check back on some sources and let them know, hey, May 10th, this is happening. So that was just an idea or suggestion. So Vice Chair and then, or staff and then Vice Chair, Paula.
Sure, just to clarify, notices also went out for this particular hearing as well. And the other thing I would add is just that the budget hearing in May is supposed to be budget only. So then if we were to bring it back, it would be in June.
Well, it was supposed to be only budget, but is there anything prohibiting us from?
We could hold 2 separate meetings that day, but the budget hearing must be budget only.
Got it. So
Under
then we
state
could
law.
have the budget hearing and then afterwards or before we could have this. I'm just trying to also balance off not delaying this and giving enough time to consider.
Sure. I guess I'd like some more suggestions in
Sure.
terms of what type of engagement you'd like to see, given staff's extensive efforts so far.
Agreed. Vice Chair and then Member Koval and then Member Duncan.
This may be far-fetched, but with the way the economy is right now, is there like a mechanism? I'm worried that we're impacting small businesses. I 100% agree that we need to reduce things and this is a good way to do things, but are there like payment plans? Like I know there's no money for things, but I am really worried about small business owners and our impacted communities. It's a tough time right now. I'm just trying to think out of the box and try to give other things. I'm a doctor, I'm not a business person, but you know, I think we really have to think out of the box for some of these businesses here too.
I will note in terms of district fees, there are opportunities within our fee rule to have split payments. So that's one opportunity. I'll also note that the rule itself doesn't require action until July 1 of 2026. That would be the first action for submitting an application for a permit to operate. And then the actual equipment itself would need to be installed in December of 2026. So there's a 12 to 18 month kind of time frame there in terms of when action we need to be taken. I don't, to Member Gomez's comment regarding funding, I don't know that we've identified a funding source there, or if there's a way for the actual cost of the equipment to be prorated or payment plans in any way. But certainly for the fees that we would collect, there are some options there.
All right, thank you, Member Koval.
Yeah, I'd just like to understand the size of the business. You said that the amount of meat that they produce or cook in a week, but to a comment earlier, what does that mean? I mean, I can think of a Burger King and yeah, they're going to fall under this, but what wouldn't that we might not be aware of? And then as far as outreach goes, what I would do is all the 20,000 emails that were sent, I would look at the open rate on those. And that way anybody that opened it, they're off the list. You revisit the ones that didn't open it and go from there to create a more targeted outreach attempt. And then perhaps there is an opportunity for a tiered approach. So the businesses that kind of easily absorb this and actually cook the most burgers, they're the first group, and we work our way towards the goal instead of all at once.
Okay, Member Duncan. Thank you, Member Koval.
Thank you. Given that when the implementation would actually take place, I don't see this as a negative delay for what the board is trying to achieve. And I think the other members' comments are really well taken. I would recommend that we do a motion I will do them. I move that we continue this not to the next meeting with the budget, but to the following meeting. I think we would still have plenty of time. I would also include in the motion that, maybe the chair and the vice chair be allowed to give additional instruction on potential outreach, to meet with staff and to give some guidance, because I'm sure they want some specific guidance and that would give them a little bit of time to do that. And of course, you could always reach out to any other members for, our thoughts if you need that. But I do think and I know we're supposed to review the agenda and have all of our questions 100% ready, but I feel we should do the right thing. And I feel maybe some other members, but myself may have a couple of questions that I could ask staff over the next 2 months so that we could do like the best decision-making that we can do. So that's my motion.
So I hear, okay, just restate that. So it's a motion by Member Duncan to hold this item over to a future meeting and for the chair and the vice chair to further direct staff on the specific outreach that needs to be done. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Do I have?
Continue to June
I said to continue to a date, just a future date. I didn't put any just in case, so I don't know if, did you have a date certain?
I did say June, but I would
Oh,
say.
I apologize.
I
Yes,
would,
June.
I appreciate the friendly amendment. I would say at least 2 meetings out. I just didn't think it would be appropriate to have it the next meeting. So I think a future date, at least 2 meetings out is the way I would state the motion.
Okay, then that with the 2 meetings. So do I have a second to that? Yes, member Gomez, question?
I can second, but perhaps amend the motion to maybe direct staff to not only to additional, and I'm happy to help out in outreach, but also look at a phase-in approach. Just like what member Koval suggested, looking at the different businesses that might be able to absorb it the first, and I don't know what that pool would look like in terms of the size, and perhaps giving us like 3 different scenarios or 2, whatever that might look. That would be helpful.
So member Duncan, would you be open to amending your motion to a friendly amendment for staff consideration of a phased approach?
Yes.
Okay. Is that good for staff? Is that good direction? Okay. With that.
I'll second the motion.
Oh, I think member Gomez did.
Yeah.
Oh.
Second. Yeah.
Okay.
I amended it, just seconded.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? With members Fitzgerald, Campbell, Lawson Reamer, Gloria absent, that motion passes with those members who are present voting aye.
Okay, and I do believe member Duncan has to leave, so if we can have council direct us because we still have remaining items left on the agenda, but they are informational.
Yeah, so we've lost quorum, so we should just have those at a future meeting.
Yes, at this point, this meeting is adjourned.
Oh, okay. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.